What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the DC edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things that matter to me in the DC Extended Universe. This is episode number 33, and in this episode, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but we're first going to start off by talking about Suicide Squad. Now, Suicide Squad is well into post-production, and Viola Davis, who plays Amanda Waller, mentioned in an interview that she has signed on for 3 films. She has signed on to reprise her role as Amanda Waller 2 more times. She already did it once in Suicide Squad, and if Warner Brothers needs her to appear 2 more times, then she has agreed contractually to appear once again, or rather twice again. But anyways, it doesn't guarantee that there's going to be 2 more Suicide Squad films. It just means that she is going to appear in the DC Extended Universe if the story calls for her character to be there. Okay? It doesn't guarantee that we're getting 2 more Suicide Squad films. It doesn't. In fact, a lot of the times these actors sign these contracts for multi-picture deals, and then they never end up appearing ever again just because the studios decided not to make those sequels. All right? But yeah, it could happen, and this is a bit of a surprise to me because I thought that Suicide Squad was going to be a one-off. I thought it's just one of those films that they decide, okay, let's just make it and then just leave it at that. But apparently not. Apparently they're thinking ahead, and if in the event this becomes a huge success, then of course they don't want to stop making these films, so they're going to keep it going. And that is why Viola Davis has signed those contracts. Now, the other actors have not mentioned that they have signed multi-picture deals. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Maybe some of them have, maybe some of them haven't. All right? So that leads me to believe that Amanda Waller will probably appear in another Suicide Squad sequel, but they're going to change up the characters. After all, in the comics, the Suicide Squad did change up their team many times, and they took some people out and they added people in. Some people stayed all the way through, and also, you know, Amanda Waller could possibly appear in Justice League. I don't know, but, you know, it's a possibility. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about that Man of Steel 2 sequel that has been rumored to happen. Now, in the last episode of the DC edition, in my videos, I mentioned that George Miller, who's the director of Mad Max Fury Road, was in talks, or rather rumored to be in talks, to direct Man of Steel 2. Or rather, just a film for the DC Extended Universe, for Warner Brothers. And there was no mention of what that would be. But another rumor states that it could be Man of Steel 2, or it could be Justice League Dark. Now, if Justice League Dark sounds familiar, it is a film that Guillermo del Toro was hoping to make, but that never got off the ground. But right now, the trades say that it's either one or the other, either Man of Steel 2 or Justice League Dark. Now, the possibility of Justice League Dark happening is slim to me. At least that's what I think. Man of Steel 2 makes more sense because there's a lot more story to tell in the Superman story. There's just so much more of a story to tell, and I feel that it's such a much stronger story than Justice League Dark. It's a story that I'm more interested in. There's still a lot of questions to be answered. Should they decide to make it, the earliest we can see it is 2019 and 2020. Now, here's the juicy part. What are they going to talk about in Man of Steel 2? Now here's the fun part, okay? And this is where it gets me excited. One of the things that is exciting about all these comic book movies is not only what movie they're going to make, but which villain is going to appear. And the rumor states that Brainiac, one of the most iconic villains in comic book history, at least in DC comic book history, could be fighting Superman in a Man of Steel sequel. All right, now that is exciting. Brainiac, you know, the shrinker of cities. You know, he shrunk Kandor, the capital city of Krypton. All right, he can imitate Superman's Kryptonian powers. Okay, that is a substantial foe. Okay, now there have been many retellings and incarnations of Brainiac, but the Brainiac that I know is the one that has a big duel with Superman using a lot of his powers, and of course shrinking those cities down for his own personal collection, or to rebuild his city or something like that. It's been a while since I read the comics, but that is something that's very exciting. Now, based on these rumors, they mentioned that if they just decide to bring Brainiac into the mix, what he's looking for in the movie is the Codex, the same Codex that General Zod was looking for, and it involves Supergirl. Okay, now if you remember back in Man of Steel, when you look inside the Kryptonian spaceship, there was a pod that was already opened. And of course, a lot of the fans were speculating that that was Supergirl. That was an Easter egg for Supergirl. So, Supergirl appearing in Man of Steel 2 along with Brainiac, that's awesome, considering that Supergirl was a part of, like, she plays a part in the Brainiac story, okay? So, that happening, directed by George Miller, man. Whew! Anyways, let's move on to something that I really want to talk about after I take a sip of this tea, and that is this DC Extended Universe and Marvel Cinematic Universe battle. You guys already know that there's this battle going on, Warner Brothers against Marvel Studios, and apparently DC, or rather some of the folks over at the DC Extended Universe, have been making really subtle shots at the MCU, at Marvel Studios. Now, Marvel Studios, they haven't really said a whole lot. Like Kevin Feige and everybody else over there, they haven't mentioned anything that is really insulting or hurtful, or anything that really tests the folks over at the DC Extended Universe. They haven't mentioned anything that's worth headline worthy, okay? But Zack Snyder, he seems to feel strongly about this duel, this kind of unspoken feud that's going on. And he spoke about it very subtly, but it looks like shots have been fired. Now, the whole deal is that Marvel Studio films are funny, they're cartoonish, they're not serious, okay? They're very cartoony, okay? And in the DC Extended Universe, it's more dark, it's more edgy, it's more serious. It's a more serious story. And they're not, they mentioned that they're not cartoony and not goofy, okay? I'm gonna read you these quotes, okay? Let's start off with this quote from Jesse Eisenberg has to say. Jesse Eisenberg plays the character of Lex Luthor in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. And the headline says, Jesse Eisenberg says Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice is not a cartoonish superhero movie. Okay? Now, obviously, he's comparing it to the films over at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he says, yes, it is like the most incredible character. It was written by this guy, Chris Terrio. This is like his first movie after Argo. He's just this brilliant writer of characters. So this movie is not this kind of cartoonish superhero movie. It is very serious and well acted, well written, well directed movie. It's really phenomenal. So he's really praising the writing, the character, and of course the direction of this film. Okay? Now, that wasn't a direct shot at Marvel, but he did say it's not cartoonish. And when you say it's not cartoonish, you're obviously making a comparison. Now, Jason Momoa had to say something, and the headline reads, Jason Momoa doesn't think anybody will be making Aquaman jokes after Batman vs. Superman, and he says, I can't see me busting out a bunch of jokes. I mean, I don't think it'll be like that. I don't think Aquaman's going to be raping and pillaging any villagers. You know, it's cute and funny. I mean, people make fun of him, and there's a bunch of jokes about him, but I'm like, well, just wait. Let's just wait a little bit, and then we can make jokes. Now, all he's really trying to say is that, you know what, you can make all the jokes you want about him. He might appear like a silly superhero character, but it is really quite serious, and you're going to keep your mouth shut after the movie has been made. Now, let's look at the final thing that was spoken, and this comes from Zack Snyder. And the headline reads, Batman vs. Superman, Zack Snyder calls Marvel's Ant-Man the flavor of the week. Ooh. Those are some pretty strong words, okay? I feel like he's right. And this is referring to Steven Spielberg's comments about superhero movies, or rather comic book movies, going the way of the Western. Like they're going to be extinct soon, or be they're just going to die down eventually. Okay, so he says, I feel like he's right. But I feel like Batman and Superman are transcendent of superhero movies in a way because they're Batman and Superman. They're not just like the flavor of the week Ant-Man. Not to be mean, but whatever it is, what is next? Blank Man? Wow. Ouch. Ant-Man being flavor of the week? I saw Ant-Man twice. I really love that film. And Zack Snyder took a shot at Marvel using Ant-Man as an example. Okay? There's a battle going on, and it's between Warner Brothers and Marvel Studios. The Marvel Cinematic Universe versus the DC Extended Universe. Now, I'm a fan of both, okay? And I really don't care about this whole feud, but it's very interesting to watch. It's very interesting to see these two properties go at it with their own films. I mean, they've only put out one film in their Extended Universe, and that's Man of Steel, and we've been waiting for a long time for this Batman vs. Superman film, which has been delayed, and again, we're finally getting to see it in 2016. But then after they put out Suicide Squad, the trailer, we were like, oh my god, this is, holy cow, Marvel is done. They got nothing on Suicide Squad. But anyways, the fact is that there's this feud going on. I don't know how many of you guys are like Marvel fanboys or DC fanboys or both, but I'm both, and I really don't think that there is really a need to be feuding about this. I mean, we love these films. I mean, we as fans, we love these films, so why not just enjoy both? But how do you feel about Zack Snyder's comments about Ant-Man being flavor of the week, and that they're praising the property because it's just more serious and less cartoonish than the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I happen to like the comedy and the way it feels fun in the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, and the serious tone of the DC Extended Universe films, you know what? I don't mind that it's serious. I appreciate the fact that they're taking a different direction with it. But you know what? People like a little bit of comedy thrown here and there. People like to laugh. I mean, you don't have to turn it into full-on comedy. But, you know, people like to laugh. It's part of having a good time, all right? But, you know what? As long as they're as good as the Dark Knight trilogy, then I have no problem with that. And, you know, I'm not saying that these films are going to be as good as Christopher Nolan's trilogy, but as long as they can make them good, then I don't care if they're overly funny or overly serious. Just make me a good film and do justice to the source material. That's all I need from you guys. And by you guys, I mean the studios. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, if you want to see more and you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, the Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. In fact, I think that he's the only director that can touch this film and actually make it work, just because of him and his